You're fighting a battle you can't win. Every morning, you promise yourself, today will be different. Today you'll eat less, exercise more, have more willpower. By evening, you've broken every promise, again. You've tried every diet. Keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, calorie counting, meal prepping, Weight Watchers, the cabbage soup diet. And you're still struggling and still gaining weight and still feeling exhausted and still hating your body. Here's what nobody tells you. The problem isn't you. The problem is that you're fighting against your body instead of working with it. In a small village in feudal Japan, there lived a man everyone called Ojiya-san grandfather. He was 90 years old, and he could outwork men half his age. Every morning, he walked 5 miles to his rice fields, worked until midday, walked home, ate his meal, returned to work, and did this every single day. At 90, he ate rice, white rice, not some special health food every single meal. He never counted a calorie in his life, never stepped foot in a gym, never heard of a protein shake or a treadmill. And he remained strong, lean, and healthy until the day he died at 103. How? He followed 10 ancient eating principles that had been passed down through his village for generations. Principles so natural that nobody thought of them as healthy habits. They were just how you lived. And here's what's crazy. Modern science now proves that every single one of these principles actually works. They prevent obesity, diabetes, heart disease, early aging. But they don't work through willpower or restriction. They work because they align with how your body naturally wants to eat and move. Today, you'll learn those exact 10 principles through the story of a young villager who was struggling just like you are now, exhausted, overweight, fighting his body every day, until Ojisan taught him the village secrets that changed everything. Before we begin, comment below. How many diets have you tried that didn't work? Write the number honestly, because you're about to discover why they all failed. And if you're ready to stop fighting and start living with your body's natural wisdom, subscribe now. This channel teaches authentic Japanese philosophy that actually works. Now, let's begin with the young man who couldn't understand why he was so different from everyone else in the village. Chapter 1. The Struggle. Mountain Village, Autumn 1650. Naoki was 24 years old and completely exhausted. Every morning, he woke up feeling heavy, not just tired heavy, like his body was made of stone instead of flesh. He worked in the rice fields alongside the other villagers, but while they moved with ease, laughing and chatting as they worked, Naoki struggled. His back hurt, his knees ached. His breathing was labored. By midday, he was drenched in sweat and desperate for rest, while men twice his age continued working without complaint. And the weight that had slowly accumulated over the past 5 years. His clothes no longer fit. His face had become round and soft. His belly protruded in a way that made him feel ashamed. The worst part? He didn't understand why. He ate what everyone else ate: rice, vegetables, fish. The same food was consumed by the whole village. So why was he the only young person who looked like this? One afternoon, after finishing work early because he simply couldn't continue, Naoki sat by the village well trying to catch his breath. That's when Ojiya-san approached. Ojiya-san was 90 years old. Everyone knew this because he loved to remind people. 90 springs I've seen, he'd say with pride, and I'll see 20 more if my body agrees. His body seemed to agree. Despite his age, Ojiya-san moved with a lightness that Naoki envied. His back was straight, his steps were steady, his eyes were clear and bright. "Naoki-kun," Ojiya-san said, sitting beside him, "why do you sit here looking like a man defeated?" "I'm tired, Oji-san. Always tired. I don't know what's wrong with me." "Nothing is wrong with you. You simply haven't learned how to live yet." Naoki looked at him, confused. "I'm 24. I've been alive for 24 years. Ah, but living and being alive are different things. Being alive just means your heart is beating. Living means understanding how to nourish and move your body in harmony with nature. I eat the same food as everyone else. Do you? Ojiya-san's eyes sparkled with knowing. Tell me exactly how you eat your evening meal. Chapter 2. The first lesson. Hara Hachi Bu. Naoki thought back to the previous night's dinner. I fill my bowl with rice, add some fish and vegetables, eat until I'm full. Sometimes I go back for more rice, if I'm still hungry. Ah, and how do you feel after this meal? Full, sometimes very full. My stomach feels tight. And then? Then I feel sleepy. I usually lie down and rest. Oji-san nodded slowly. Tell me, Naoki-kun, when you eat until you feel full, how long does it take before your stomach tells your mind, stop, I've had enough? Immediately? I stop when I'm full. No. Think about this carefully. Have you ever eaten until you felt full, and then 20 minutes later felt overfull, like you ate too much? Naoki paused. Actually, yes, that happened almost every meal. He'd finish eating, feel satisfied, then, half an hour later, feel uncomfortably stuffed. That happens to me, he admitted. Of course it does. It happens to everyone who eats until they're full. Do you know why? Naoki shook his head. Your stomach and your mind don't talk to each other instantly. There's a delay, about 20 minutes. So when you eat until you feel full, you've actually eaten too much. Your stomach knew it 20 minutes ago, but your mind is only finding out now. Wait, that actually made sense. Naoki had never thought about it this way before. In Okinawa, the islands far to the south, people live longer than anywhere else in Japan. Do you know their secret? Special food? No. A simple phrase, Hara Hachi Bu. It means belly 80%. They eat until their stomach feels about 80% full, then they stop. But wouldn't they still be hungry? That's what everyone thinks. But here's the secret. If you stop at 80% and wait 20 minutes, you discover you're actually perfectly satisfied. You ate exactly the right amount. Naoki looked skeptical. How do you know when you're at 80%? Ah, that's the important part. You cannot know if you're eating quickly while distracted. You must slow down. Pay attention to your body. Notice how your stomach feels. Stop before you reach that heavy, full sensation. But that would mean eating less. No, it means eating the right amount. Every night, you eat until you're overfull. Over months and years, those extra mouthfuls add up to thousands of extra calories your body doesn't need. That's where your extra weight comes from, not from eating rice, from eating too much rice. For the first time in years, something clicked in Naoki's mind. He wasn't eating different food. He was eating too much food. Chapter 3. Learning to Feel. That evening, Naoki tried Ojiya-san's teaching. He served himself rice as usual, but instead of eating quickly while thinking about his work, he slowed down, paid attention, noticed how each bite felt. Halfway through his normal portion, something strange happened. His stomach sent a gentle signal. This is nice. I'm starting to feel satisfied. But he wasn't full, not even close to the stuffed feeling he usually aimed for. This must be the 80%, he thought. He stopped eating, put down his chopsticks, sat with the sensation. His mind immediately protested, "You're still hungry. There's more food. Don't waste it. You'll be hungry later." But Naoki waited. 20 minutes. Just like Oji-san said. And something amazing happened. The feeling of not quite full transformed into perfectly satisfied. His stomach felt comfortable, light, not stuffed, not hungry, just right. He couldn't remember the last time a meal had felt this way. The next morning, he woke up feeling different. Not lighter, he hadn't lost weight overnight, but less heavy. His stomach wasn't bloated from last night's overeating. He actually felt hungry for breakfast. When had he last felt truly hungry in the morning? He found Ojiya-san tending his garden. Ojiya-san, I tried Hara Hachi Bu last night. And? It worked. I felt satisfied with less food, but my mind kept telling me to eat more. Of course it did. Your mind has been trained for 24 years to eat until stuffed. It will take time to retrain it, but your body already knows the truth. You just have to learn to listen. Is that the only secret? Just eat less? Oji-san laughed. If it were that simple, everyone would do it. No, there are many more principles, and they all work together. Come, walk with me to the village. I'll teach you the second lesson. Chapter 4. The Walking Lesson. As they walked, Naoki noticed something. Ojiya-san was 90 years old and walking faster than him. Not by much, but enough to be noticeable. Ojiya-san, how far do you walk every day? To the fields and back, to the village and back, to visit friends, to the shrine. Maybe 5 or 6 miles? I don't count. 5 or 6 miles? At your age? At my age? Oji-san smiled. Naoki-kun, I've been walking this much since I was a boy. My body doesn't know how to live any other way. They passed a younger man riding a horse to the fields. See that? Oji-san pointed. He saves his legs, uses the horse. Very convenient, but his legs grow weak from lack of use. Convenience is the enemy of health. But walking isn't exercise. Exactly, that's the secret. In the West, I hear they have special buildings where people go to run on wooden machines that go nowhere. They call it exercise, and they do it for 1 hour, then sit the rest of the day. Naoki had never heard of such a strange practice. Our bodies were made to walk, not to run on machines, not to sit all day, then do violent movements for 1 hour, but to walk, gently, constantly, throughout the day. Ojiya-san gestured to the village around them. Everyone was moving, walking to the well, walking to the fields, walking to visit neighbors, children playing, which was just walking with joy. You think about exercise as something separate from life, something hard, something you must force yourself to do. But walking is just living. How many steps do you think you take each day, Oji-san? I don't know. Thousands? Your body doesn't count steps. It just moves because there are places to go and things to do. For the next week, Naoki started paying attention to his movement. He realized he'd been finding ways to move less, taking the shortest paths, sitting whenever possible, saving his energy. But saving energy for what? To sit more? He started walking the long way to the fields, taking stairs instead of easy paths, standing while talking instead of always sitting. Nothing dramatic, just moving more, like everyone else in the village had been doing all along. Chapter 5. The Meal Structure. 2 weeks later, Oji-san invited Naoki to dinner. When Naoki arrived, he was surprised by how the meal was presented. Instead of one large bowl with everything mixed, there were many small dishes. Each had its own portion of something different. A small bowl of rice, a small bowl of miso soup, a small plate with simmered vegetables, another small plate with grilled fish, a tiny dish of pickled radish. This is Ichiju Sansai, Oji-san explained. 1 soup, 3 sides. This is how a proper meal should be arranged. But it's so much work. Wouldn't it be easier to just put everything in one bowl? Easier, yes. Better, no. Watch what happens when you eat this way. They began eating. Naoki started with the soup, warm, savory miso that filled his mouth with rich flavor. Then, a bite of rice. Then, some fish. Then, vegetables. Then back to soup. Each small dish offered a completely different taste and texture. His mind felt entertained, satisfied, like he was experiencing a feast, even though each portion was actually quite small. By the time he'd worked through all the small dishes, he felt completely satisfied, yet he'd eaten less than he normally would from one large bowl. Do you see? Oji-san asked. Your mind feels like it has eaten many different things. It feels abundant. but the total amount is actually moderate. And the soup. Ah, yes. The soup fills your stomach with warm liquid before you eat the heavier foods. This helps you feel full sooner. Plus, soup is mostly water, very filling, very few calories. Naoki understood. It wasn't magic. It was psychology. Small portions arranged beautifully made him feel like he was eating more than he actually was. You could eat your own food this way, Naoki-kun. You don't need special Japanese ingredients. Just serve your meal as several small dishes instead of one large plate. Include a soup. Make sure vegetables appear in more than one dish. Let your eyes see abundance even as you eat moderation. Chapter 6. The Vegetable Wisdom. The next lesson came when Naoki visited Ojiya-san's garden. The old man was harvesting daikon radish, carefully pulling the long white roots from the earth. Naoki-kun, how many vegetables do you eat each day? I don't know. Some. Whatever is served with the meal. In the old wisdom, they say a person should eat at least 350 grams of vegetables daily. That's about this much. He held up 2 large daikons. Every single day. That's a lot of vegetables. Only if vegetables are boring. Only if they're tasteless. But vegetables prepared with care, they become something you actually want to eat. Over the next hour, Ojiya-san taught Naoki how to prepare vegetables in ways that brought out their natural flavors. Daikon simmered in seasoned broth until it absorbed deep, savory flavors. Leafy greens dressed with sesame and soy. Quick pickled cucumbers that were crunchy and bright. Vegetables are roasted until their sugars caramelize. In the West, I hear they boil vegetables until they're soft and tasteless, then force themselves to eat them because they're healthy. This is suffering. No wonder they don't eat enough. Naoki tasted the simmered daikon. It was actually delicious, rich, complex. He wanted to eat more. The secret is treating vegetables with the same respect you give to fish or meat. They're not an afterthought. They're the foundation of the meal. But why so many vegetables? Think about it, Naoki-kun. Vegetables fill your stomach with very few calories. They provide fiber that helps digestion. They make you feel full, but they don't make you fat. So if half my plate is vegetables, then there's less room for rice and heavier foods. You feel satisfied. Your stomach is full, but you've eaten fewer calories than if you'd filled that space with more rice or meat. It was brilliant. Not restriction, just displacement. Fill up on the good stuff, and there's naturally less room for the rest. Chapter 7. The Social Truth. One evening, Naoki ate dinner with his family. His mother served him a large portion of rice. Out of habit and politeness, he started to eat it all. But then he remembered Hara Hachi Bu. He was getting close to 80% full. The rest of the rice would push him into uncomfortable fullness. He stopped eating, left rice in his bowl. His mother looked concerned. Naoki, you didn't finish. Are you feeling ill? No, mother. I'm full. Satisfied. This is enough. His father frowned. We don't waste food in this house. Finish your portion. And there it was, the social pressure that Ojiya-san had warned him about. Father, putting excess food into a body that doesn't need it is also a waste. The food doesn't help me when it becomes extra weight. His father started to argue, but Ojiya-san, who had been invited to dinner, spoke up. The boy is right. We respect food by eating mindfully, not by stuffing ourselves past comfort. Because Ojiya-san was an elder, his father accepted this, but Naoki saw the tension. Later, Ojiya-san pulled him aside. In Japan, there's a social aspect to health that many people don't discuss. Your family and neighbors notice if you gain weight. They comment. Sometimes this feels uncomfortable, but it also provides motivation. It feels like judgment, perhaps, but it also comes from care. In our village, health is partly a community responsibility. We look after each other. If someone is clearly eating in unhealthy ways, we say something because we care about their well-being. Naoki thought about this. In one way, it was pressure, but in another way, it was support. Everyone around him, eating moderately, made it easier for him to eat moderately too. The people you eat with influence how you eat. If you're surrounded by people who eat mindfully and in balanced ways, you naturally eat that way too. But if you're surrounded by people who overeat, that becomes your normal. Chapter 8. The Timing Lesson. Naoki-kun, what time do you eat your evening meal? Usually after dark, when work is finished. Maybe 2 hours before bed? Ojiya-san shook his head. This is another problem. Your body is preparing for sleep, but you're filling it with food. When should I eat? While the sun is still up, at least 3 hours before you sleep, preferably 4. But I'm hungry late at night after working all day. Only because your body has learned to expect food at that time. Retrain it. Ojiya-san explained. When you eat late and then sleep soon after, your body doesn't have time to use that energy. Much of it gets stored as fat. But when you eat earlier and stay awake for several hours, your body digests the food and uses the energy. There's an old saying, eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a beggar. Your largest meal should be when you need energy. Your smallest meal should be when you're preparing to rest. But everyone eats their biggest meal at night. And everyone wonders why they can't lose weight. The two are connected, Naoki-kun. For the next month, Naoki shifted his dinner time earlier, an hour at first, then 2 hours. Eventually, he was eating his evening meal while there was still daylight. The first few nights, he felt hungry before bed, but his body adjusted. Within 2 weeks, he didn't feel hungry at night anymore. And something unexpected happened. He slept better. His stomach wasn't working hard to digest a heavy meal while he tried to rest. He woke, feeling lighter, more energized. Chapter 9. The Small Portions Secret. One day, Ojiya-san showed Naoki his dishes. They were small, much smaller than the large bowls Naoki used. Have you ever noticed that people eat whatever portion is put in front of them? If the plate is large, they fill it and eat it all. If the plate is small, they fill it and eat it all. So using smaller plates tricks your mind into satisfaction with less food. Your eyes see a full plate. Your mind feels satisfied. But the actual amount is smaller. Naoki tried this. Instead of his usual large bowl, he used a smaller one, filled it with rice. It looked full, complete. His mind registered a full plate. But the amount was actually 30% less than he normally ate. After eating, he felt satisfied, not because his stomach was stuffed, but because his mind had seen completion. A full plate, nothing missing. This is why Japanese portions look small to foreigners. We use small plates and small bowls. Each portion looks complete in its container, but the total amount is moderate. And if I'm still hungry, then you serve yourself another small portion. But you'll find that after finishing the first small serving and waiting a few minutes, you feel satisfied and don't need more. The psychology was fascinating. It wasn't about restriction or deprivation. It was about working with how the human mind actually operates. Chapter 10. The Final Wisdom. 3 months had passed. Naoki had lost weight. Not dramatically, not through suffering, just steadily, naturally. His clothes fit better. His energy had returned. He could work the full day without exhaustion. More importantly, he felt different, lighter, not just physically, mentally. He wasn't fighting his body anymore, wasn't forcing himself to eat less through willpower. He was simply living in harmony with natural principles. One evening, Ojiya-san called him over. Naoki-kun, do you remember when you asked me if there was one single secret to staying healthy? Yes. And I said there were 10 principles? Naoki nodded. Here is the truth. The principles are not separate. They all work together. Eating to 80% full only works if you're paying attention, which means eating slowly. Small portions only work if the food is satisfying, which means preparing vegetables well and eating varied meals. Walking works better if you eat dinner early and sleep well. Social support helps you maintain all the other habits. They're connected, like a rope made of many strands. One strand breaks easily. 10 strands twisted together become strong. Ojiya-san continued. But there's something deeper I want you to understand. None of these principles require fighting against your body. They all work with your body's natural wisdom. The samurai understood this. True strength comes not from force but from alignment with natural principles. When you move with the flow instead of against it, effort becomes effortless. The same with health. When you fight hunger with strict diets, you eventually lose because hunger is powerful. But when you eat in ways that naturally satisfy hunger with the right amount of nourishing food, there's no fight. Naoki finally understood. For years he'd been trying to force his body to be different through willpower and restriction, and he'd failed because you can't win a war against yourself. But these principles, they weren't warfare. They were wisdom, not fighting, just living correctly. Remember Kaizen, Naoki-kun, continuous improvement through tiny steps. You didn't change everything overnight. You changed one thing, then another, then another. Small changes sustained over time create large transformations. Thank you, Oji-san. You've given me my life back. No, Naoki-kun. I've only reminded you how to live the life your body already wanted to live. This wisdom was always available to you. You just needed to notice it. The teaching continues. Years later, Naoki became the village elder, and when young people came to him struggling with their health, exhausted and discouraged, he taught them the same 10 principles Oji-san had taught him. Not as strict rules, not as a diet, as a way of living. Eat to 80% full and notice how your body actually feels. Arrange your meals with many small dishes instead of one large plate. Walk throughout the day as a natural part of life. Learn to prepare vegetables in ways that make you actually want to eat them. Use small plates that trick your mind into satisfaction. Eat your largest meal when you need energy, not before bed. Let the people around you support your healthy habits. Include fermented foods that help digestion. Respect food by eating mindfully, not by forcing yourself to finish. Practice Kaizen's small daily improvements that compound over time. These weren't diet rules, they were life principles. Ancient wisdom that had kept Japanese villages healthy for 1,000 years. And they still work today. If this video revealed wisdom you'd been searching for, do this. Comment, I choose harmony over fighting. Subscribe for authentic Japanese philosophy that works with your body, not against it. And remember Naoki's lesson. Your body isn't your enemy. It's been waiting for you to stop fighting and start listening. The 10 principles are ready whenever you are.